SADC Centre for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, growing the renewable energy industry in Namibia outreach event is starting on Tuesday, as Namibia has become a regional and continental frontrunner for the renewable energy technologies, including green hydrogen. A large resource potential and novel developments of the country's regulation have been key to this label. There is, however, still significant room for growth to be placed as a regional and local continental hub. And to discuss this and other developments, I'm joined by Helvi Ileka, the head of Renewable and Energy Efficiency Centre, and she is also joined by Lorenzo Vilona, a Southern African energy specialist. I hope I got that right. Yes. Lorenzo, thank you so much for making time to join us. Helvi, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time to join us as well. Helvi, let's perhaps start off with you to help us understand RES for Africa, Renewable Energy Solutions for Africa. What is it all about, and why is Namibia also playing a pivotal role in this whole thing?
RES for Africa is a foundation based in Italy, and they are basically responsible for, they have a program for SADC region on renewable energy, and this program it's targeting on energy access as well as promoting other renewable energy. So, but the focus today of the conference we have tomorrow, it will be on green hydrogen. Mm-hmm. So, just basically to understand, to advocate, to network, to learn from each other on what we have done already currently in the country, and what we need to, for example, improve our renewable energy situation in Namibia.
Right. Yes. Lorenzo, what was the conversation in Europe, and more specifically where you come from in Italy, about renewable energy? And this is a discussion which is fairly new in Namibia, but there is a renewed drive to to have more conversations around renewable energy, especially in light of the fact that we are now also spearheading green hydrogen on the continent. But talk to us about your country and the conversation around renewable energies, and also given the fact that there are some who believe that, hey, why should we fix something that's working perfectly fine? Yes, it is causing harm to the environment in terms of, I'm talking about fossil fuels, but just where do we strike the balance there?
So I think from an Italian standpoint, there's also the part that we're in the European Union. And so the European Union generally has this drive towards renewable energy across the continent, from a question also of energy independence and security, which came to light, especially following the conflict in Russia and Ukraine, with Russia supplying a lot of gas to Europe because we're quite resource poor, relatively speaking. So it's not just a question, it is a question of the environment. Of course, it's very clear the environmental benefits of reduced pollution and of using renewables over fossil fuels, but it's also a question of energy independence and energy security. And the fact that we are more and more moving towards the electrification of households, we're using more and more electric devices, we're growing, everyone now has not just a phone, but also has the iPad and the laptop and the kids have it. So we're also consuming more electricity. So there's also a need to meet this growing demand for electricity. And the question of energy independence is true for any nation. It's always better off to try and be energy independent. And Namibia has such a huge wind and solar potential that it's enough to satisfy its own demand now, but also to grow and quite simply make money off exporting also this enormous potential that a lot of the neighbors don't have. So it's a question into also tapping into a free resource, for which also has all these other various benefits, which are the environment, economic growth, electrifying households.
But there's also now an interesting moment for us, apart from green hydrogen, of course. There's also the discovery of oil, fossil fuels, and gas. What do we do now in this instance? You have on one hand something that is, historically grown economies, especially in the western part of the world, and on one hand you're being told to go green. How do we balance out the two? Which one do we prioritize? Helvi, talk to us about that.
For example, we are always, let me tell you that this partnership, for example, with West Africa, with the SADC Centre for Renewable Energy and the Namibia Energy Institute, the NAST, the university, it's basically to look at how can, for example, the more resource. For example, if we have oil and gas, how can we use oil and gas to also develop other renewable energy, for example, other resources which we have in abundance. So that's basically where we look and to increase energy access. So all these are basically we have it, and how can we use any technology with more resource to develop other which are more sustainable, especially to increase energy access, to for education, to also increase, for example, the uptake in the country and create jobs. How can we basically conduct more research and increase the uptake of any other renewable energy to increase access to the local and benefit the country. And also how can we develop the courses that are basically to improve, that are targeting to improve the energy access of individuals.
All right. What are your thoughts around that as well? Can they coexist, green and, black gold, or Texas tea as they call it?
So absolutely they can coexist, and also now from the West Africa Foundation, which I represent, viewpoint is we accept the fact that this is a transition, at least in our view, and a transition doesn't mean a sudden change. There needs to be progressive movement towards, and that includes looking at all types of energy technologies. But there is also a very important aspect, which is a term which is called what is your energy mix, or your electricity mix. And this is essentially of a country, what are all the sources of energy that are used to create in that country. And it's important to have a mix, particularly when it comes to oil and gas, because those are markets which are often impacted by external sources, war, market crashes, geopolitical tensions. And so if your whole economy is based on oil and gas, and suddenly there's an external actor or incident which causes the international and global prices of oil and gas to rise, then the whole country will be seeing a rise in costs of all of those activities related to oil and gas. But if you also have a mix of electricity and wind, then which maybe are more immune to these geopolitical issues, then you can have that security of, okay, well, maybe oil and gas prices have go up, but my electricity price can stay stable thanks to this good mix.
So diversification is key.
Diversification your assets, like like you do with your investments.
Let's talk about the conference. What are some of the major points that you are going to focus on? And I know that green hydrogen has been, it's been a buzz in the past 2-3 years. We're talking about skills development, for example. But talk to us about the other aspects that, will ready Namibia for this new endeavor.
So tomorrow's conference is an opportunity to try and get the country's experts in, both from the public and private, because it's good to get an idea both of both views, and we'll have representatives from from NamPower, we'll have professors from NUST and from other universities, we'll have the Electricity Control Board as well, and it's idea of getting this share of information to see and this exchange of views to understand, okay, well, what's the situation now in Namibia? Where do we want to be? What are the hurdles in place in terms of laws and regulation? And how can we create a discussion around those to try also to learn and to achieve these goals in the long term? So yes, the focus will be hydrogen. That is a big focus because there is this buzz, as you said, and there is this potential in Namibia which very few other countries have. But there's also just a general going to be discussion on renewable energy technologies. So that also includes how can we grow wind and solar, because I learned just this morning that there is a target to reach 100% electrification by 2040, if I'm not mistaken. So that will require a lot of growth in electricity generation. And to achieve this goal, we need to have frank discussions about where the country is now, what can be learned from other countries that maybe have already achieve this target, and how do we overcome those?
Yes, Helvi, please, you wanted to add something?
Yes, just to add, like the Namibia University of Science and Technology currently, we are conducting in all 14 regions energy affordability survey. To basically we are moving. We have enumerators and supervisors in the regions who are collecting data from the households, from the entrepreneurs, enterprises, from the public institutions, also from the community, to understand and to have a baseline on energy access, and to also understand the affordability level. So the Ministry of Mines and Energy has a policy, electrification policy, and they want to electrify up to, in the next 10 years, up to have a universal access. So we are now having basically this study out to really have a baseline to understand the affordability phases, and also to see how renewable energy can be used to uplift and to electrify, to be part of the energy transition, to be part of electrification, and also not only renewable energy off grid, but also grid electrification, basically. So we are really, and this also will basically provide information to such event and we value so much partnership. This partnership with the Rest for Africa and the SADC Centre for Renewable Energy. The university is now basically partnership to see how we can develop the skills, how we can also develop the skills around hydrogen, around renewable energy, and around all energy sector to ensure that energy and electricity we are generating in the country is sustainable. And so this partnership really means a lot to us, and we are really urging all our partners in the energy sector to register, and for the registration is still ongoing till afternoon, and so they can participate tomorrow with us to network, to learn from each other, and to see how we can develop our hydrogen sector in the country, and also how to develop other energy related.
For anybody watching this, is there a cost involved? And also maybe talk to us about the venue as well.
The venue will be in the Auditorium 1, Auditorium 1 at the Namibia University of Science and Technology at the lower campus, and it will start from 8:30 with the registration, and it will go on up to 1 o'clock to 2:30. We have still a network event where we can basically discuss what other we can network together with the Rest for Africa. This is I think it's a one event which everyone should attend to will benefit, will see, will learn basically from each other. So we have.
And if I could just add, absolutely the event is free because information for us for Africa should be free. So everything we do is always open access, and all of our studies, etc., is on our website because this is about creating conversation and sharing ideas. It's not just about just about business. It's about having people talking and understanding and solving problems together.
Absolutely. I love the fact that you mentioned the Res Africa. Well, picking up from what you have both been saying, Res for Africa's philosophy somehow seems to be pivoting towards, it's very community-centric.
Yeah.
Why is it so important for, to hear what, the everyday person in my village, for example, in the Kavango East region has to say about renewable energy? Is it understanding their needs first and not just imposing what you think they need from your standpoint? Just talk to us about that very interesting philosophy about putting the community first.
So it's because we do not pretend that we are experts. I mean, we work across the entire continent. it's impossible to be an expert of every single country. I'm not even an expert of my own. So you cannot understand the nuances of each country without understanding what the stakeholder thinks and what the way of life in that country is. So that's why whenever we work, we always try and partner with known institutions such as the Namibia Energy Institute at the NAST, or with ministries, and it's a question of how can we, as quickly as possible, learn what the local context is, what the local situation is, so we can best adapt our work and our research.
All right, awesome stuff.